and Cheukhang, and then Kwong him, right, and then followed by class number 14 to 15, called Cheukhang and Wing, right. So I think that will be all for today, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and okay. Just a little announcement made like last time. It's about the sample I sent you. Now, first of all, the sample I sent you, it's just a sample, okay? It's a real presentation coming from Hong Kong U, a social science student, and his project was on, not this year, but last year. His project was on UNICEF Children's Fund, okay? So basically, that is an example of how he grabbed the attention of the audience by asking them to close their eyes. Now, it doesn't mean that you should be doing the same thing, I mean, last week there was a funny class. Almost every student began by, now I want you to close your eyes. Now, everybody began by that. Remember, samples, the meaning of the word samples means they are for references and they are not instructions. It doesn't mean that when everybody goes up there to do presentation, they have to begin by asking a question or asking you to close your eyes. So it's kind of very strange, right? And also pay attention to the natural kind of ending and the natural kind of responding when you are inviting for questions, that sort of thing. All right, that's the first announcement. I mean, by no means, but think about it, if the whole class, everybody does that by, oh, I want you to close your eyes. Isn't that funny? I mean, I don't understand, either my students are still too young to understand that, but I check, most of you are actually 18 and 19. It's a bit incredible. Cheukhang just came here. And another thing about it is, about the Moodle submission. Okay, there is a Moodle folder for L52 created for you under week 11. Okay, so this coming Sunday, before Sunday, that's the deadline. Please upload your outline there. Go to ENG 2010, week 11, and look for the folder. Okay, L52. Okay, now there is another folder, has not been created, but will be created, future tense, will be created in week 15. And that folder is also L52 for your research report. Now, please do not just put it in the folder for Moodle, but also put it in Very Guide. I'm talking about week 15. So week 15 is Very Guide and Moodle folder together, okay? Well, if you like, you can also put it to my Hansen Yu email, but that's optional, okay? Just in case you don't want me to bother you. But you must put them in the Moodle folder we created for you and the Very Guide for the last week, okay? That's week 15. Now for the outline, you do not need to put it in, Very Guide, because Very Guide is for checking plagiarism. It's not for homework submission. I do not understand why your teacher in ENG 1010 never told you this. Very Guide is for checking of copying, plagiarism, so that the university can deduct your grade, not by me. They would automatically check and moderate your grades, okay? So you have to put it in very guide. But for outline, most of the sentences are actually broken phrases, so we don't really need to go for very guide. But you must submit it into your Moodle folder. Okay, is that clear? All right, that's basically the things I want to make announcement. So there will be a folder for under week 11. There's another folder not yet seen, but will be created, L52. All right, submit it in the Moodle folder created for you under ENG 2010. Go for L52. This is L52, right? I think. Am I correct? Okay. This class is not L52. Let me see. Yeah, this is L52. I'm correct. Right. And for the last submission, please also put it in very guide because the university wants to check if you copy. There are many cases of plagiarism. The teachers in the report reported many students just copy from the internet, copy from other university projects, copy each other. There are lots of cases of just copying and copying and copying for process writing. So you have to submit it into very guide for your research report. Okay, so both. Remember a Moodle folder and a very guide for the last one. And for outline, this Friday, this Sunday, before this Sunday, put it in your Moodle folder. Okay. And you should be able to see it today, I think. Okay. For not for the last one, but for week 11. Okay, I'm sorry. When I speak, I cannot see any messages. I don't know whether what you have messaged me or not. But remember, this is how we start. Okay. Now we'd like to begin with the first group. Now, and do not wait for me. When one finishes the whole group, you can then please wait. The next group, for example, core, you just come up. Okay. And when core finishes, quote you, when quote you him finishes, then quote Cheukhang should just go on. Okay? So it will be a continued thing. And I will be recording. Okay. I have to start recording now. Right. 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 So who is the first one?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Phone check, whatever, right?
Phone check.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yes.
You know what to do, right? You switch on your your
Yeah. Okay, can you guys see me?
Okay, well, also another thing, ask your partners, because if your partner can see you, everybody can see you, okay? If your partner cannot see you, so please just ask your partner that question. Thank you, thank you.
Yes, I can see her. I can
Thank
see
you.
Okay. You can start now.
Okay. Just a second. Okay. Okay, good morning. I'm phone checking Jasmine from L55. Thank you for taking time to my presentation. Okay. Okay, I would like to ask, did you go to watch your social media today and like some posts or getting some informations on the internet? I hope you guys maybe did it already or just now today. And I would like to talk about social media and the relationship between fake news. Social media is a kind of medium of news spreading in nowadays. Like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc., can provide an internet platform for communication. And it has to change but the dynamic political corruptions, some values or some social problems that we can share on the internet. And however, the fake news has created a misinformation environment for people to receive the information and may mislead their values or their thinking about that pieces of news. So in my presentation, I will point out or list something about how fake news affects the journalism and discuss what disadvantage that fake news brings. Why fake news keeps appears because of the popularity of internet. Fake news can spreading everywhere and mislead the readers. The quality may become very considerably, and on the other hand, creating this kind of news can be making profits, and maybe politicians can be control the news which they want to show their to show their image to or their personality to the public. Still, the cost of creating a piece of news is low than to confirm the truth of the fake news. Besides, the action like sharing or ask for like that we always, the young always do, will accelerate the spreading of fake news, and this is related to a phenomenon called echo chamber, which is a little bit difficult to explain. And okay, here have some disadvantage of news. Because fake news not only spreading the wrong information or mislead the readers, people may difficult to distinguish the truth of the news as it endanger the health and life of public. Nevertheless, fake news can be intensifying political polarization by using some measures. First, it will be difficult to distinguish the truth of the news. A survey indicates that nearly 88% of young people obtains new information from Facebook or other social network sites, but nearly 82% of middle school students are unable to distinguish between the sponsored content of the websites and the real news. They only judge whether the content is true of what they see, not the source of data or their critical thinking, which fake news may spreading in most of the websites, but they will not go to fact check or do something to prove that is it real or not. Not only the young people, but also the elder. Second, it will endanger the health and life of public, as it hard to distinguish the truth of the news. There is an other kind of knowledge which about the healthcare of the maybe during the process the writer may misunderstanding or just editing the information through the process or they accept some sponsorship. They accept some sponsorship to accelerate the efficiency of the product. So after the people or like the elder people, they may care about this kind of healthcare. So they will believe that no matter it's true or false. Third, it will be intensifying the political polarization. As fake news spreading around the online world, it affects the truth of the news, but also it will have the opportunity to threaten democratic institutions. In particular, fake news during the elections may mislead us to believe that politician is the ideal candidate, so he can have much more vote to be selected, or eventually it will lead the social dissonance because we vote a wrong person, like because they make a good speech for and the last, I think that is have a difficulty on cracking down the fake news lies and how to judge whether it is true or not. In reality, it is often difficult to determine whether other party intentionally released the fake news, and the legislation is too strict. It will harm the innocent people and adversely affect the flow of information. In the era of information explosion, it is difficult for traditional media to verify information one by one, and which is also hard for the citizen or the people who are reading the news, getting the information in social media every day. And to reduce the number of fake news, government can have some news spreading, or maybe social media platform can have much more policies or approval for the user's contact to protect the people may not get much more fake news on the internet. So that is the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening. And now I would like to invite questions from the audience.
I'm L52 Ho Lo Yi. I would like to ask my partner, Cheukhang Jasmine, do you think Hong Kong citizens have big influence by the fake news, like they can discern fake news?
Thank you for your question. It's such interesting questions. I think Hong Kong citizens may have big influence under the fake news because we use internet, we visit websites, and we use the social media every day as we are young, or the elder may use the WhatsApps to share the information, and which people may not be fact check or just read some more news like to confirm it's true or not, because as my presentation just now I've told that there are 88% of young people getting news on the social media like Facebook, Instagram every day, but 82% of them may not be go to fact check, or they just believe what they see, but they will not think about or filtering some information which may be wrong to them. So it may become it will have a big influence to citizens, because maybe some truth will be twisted. Audience?
No, I don't have more question. Thank you for your answering.
I have a
Thank you.
question for
Oh.
you,
Oh,
Jasmine.
okay. Yes.
Jasmine, well, I appreciate your presentation about fake news and its implications on the social media. Now, so that's in the area of freedom of speech versus, of course, censorship or by the government, or self-censorship imposing by individuals. So,
Yes.
what is your view on how to balance the both sides, like freedom of speech versus censorship? What is the balance? And what is the best kind of policies that a country or a city should adopt to balance the both sides?
I think until now, because I've just read some policies about other countries or Hong Kong, because Hong Kong didn't have much like government or the social media didn't have much complex censorships for the social media to filter the fake news. And if once government did, or just the internet restrictions that just now we are discussed by everyone, once it works, and then it will be, as you say, like versus censorships versus the freedom of speech. People may controlled by the government, and they cannot speak what they want to speak or share what they want. So, but it's hard to find a balance, I think, because once you got the freedom to speech, and we cannot control the people what they want to share or what they want to speak, but once you get some censorship or some restrictions, some laws for them, and then there must be something lost during this process. And it will be like monitoring, because spreading news or we have freedom of speech is like a kind of monitoring to government. But once the censorship is worked to everyone, and then it's like it's turnover, like government monitoring us to what we talk, what we share, and there may be some punishment or something for us. So I think it's for now it's quite still hard to get the balance for these two things.
Thank you. All right, the next. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you see the folder I share in the file? Jasmine, can you see me?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So can you guys see the file I share?
Yes.
Okay, so then I will start. Hello everyone, good morning. I'm Holo Juliana from L52. My topic is euthanasia, a double-edged sword. So let's start with the introduction. I would like to ask all of you a question first. Have you ever thought of die without pain? Euthanasia refers to the use of medicines for incurable patients, allowing them to die without pain, which causes...
Sorry to interrupt you. Where is your notes? Where did you put?
Did
you put it up the share notes?
Yes, the meeting, the
The
file.
meeting notes?
Yes.
Oh, did you move it up to the top? You can move it up to the top so that we all can see you. Meeting notes, we don't see any meeting notes.
I share it into files.
What do you mean by you share it into files? If you share notes, then it should be on the meeting notes. If you shared it with us, then you should be able to share screen, but you have not shared screen and you have not uploaded anywhere. So I don't know where you have actually shared it with us.
Then maybe I share screen.
Yeah, you share screen then.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. And then you click open your own notes to show us.
Thank you.
So where is it?
Can you see?
Yeah. Okay, why don't you just share this with us then? Thank you. Thanks very much.
So I continue. So, euthanasia refers to the use of medicines for incurable patients, allowing them to die without pain, which caused a great controversy throughout the world. Nowadays, more and more patients request of euthanasia, but why? Before we can decide whether the euthanasia should be legalized, it is high time we delved into the benefits and drawbacks of euthanasia. First, I would like to have a simple introduction of the reasons why patients choose euthanasia. There is a high percentage of patients suffering from chronic disease like AIDS, end-stage cancers, paralysis. And the second reason is that there is a high pressure of medical expenses and mentality. People think that they are unaffordable. And the third reason is that patients and their family are having negative emotion like hopelessness, so they are really easy to give up. Next, I would like to talk about the advantages of carry out euthanasia. The first advantage is euthanasia can reduce the suffering of patients. Patients need to wait for death and suffering physical pain. Therefore, in the case of irreversible conditions, allowing euthanasia is the best solution to release patients from pain. And the second advantage is that euthanasia is in the interest of sick family. Taking care of chronic and terminally ill patients brings heavy mental and financial pressure on the patient's family, like they have to pay high medical expenses and take care of the sick for a long time. If these efforts do not have any practical help for the patient's conditions, allowing the terminal patients to be euthanized is the best compromise for the patient and his family. Next, I would like to talk about the disadvantages of carry out euthanasia. The first disadvantage is there is a possibility of abusing euthanasia. The euthanasia measure is very likely to be used as a lawful murder method to exploit the right to life and the choice of the patient. For example, there are deaf twins from Belgium request of euthanasia because they became blind and they are tired to live with disabilities while not suffering life-threatening disease. So we can see that it will be really easy of abusing euthanasia. And the second disadvantage is euthanasia may cause negative influence to performers. If families choose to euthanize the patient, they will feel a great sense of guilt. In addition, when a doctor injects a patient with a poison needle or poison during the euthanasia, it feels like killing people. Therefore, euthanasia can cause psychological damage to the patient's family and the medical staff. Next is about the argument. There is an argument that religious and moral disputes versus basic human rights of choice. Different religions believe that only God has the right to determine human life and death. Humans have no right to deprive others' life. They should respect the laws of nature. However, without the prejudice to the rights of others, everyone has the right to choose their own actions, which should include the right to choose to continue or end their lives. For example, since 2003, Hong Kong, there is a Hong Kong citizen, Tan Siu Pun, expressing his hope that ending life with dignity, who require euthanasia and make euthanasia a hot topic in Hong Kong, even the world. Last is the conclusion and recommendation. While it is obvious that euthanasia has both benefits and drawbacks, but there is no definitive answer as to whether it is right or wrong to do so. After all, it is all depend on the patient's family, and the government. Like the government should keep exploring the new treatments and new drugs which improve the innovation and the development of medical technology in the long term, and patients should keep their positive mentality, and the patient's family should keep encouraging and motivating the patients. Only if they can cooperate together, we decrease the request of euthanasia in Hong Kong. That's the end of my presentation, and thank you all for your listening. I would like to invite the questions from my partners.
I'm L52 Jose Sonia. I would like to ask L52 Harlock Giuliano. Do you think euthanasia should be legalized in Hong Kong?
Thank you for your question. No, I don't think euthanasia should be legalized in Hong Kong. Here is the reason. Medical staff in Hong Kong have no experience on euthanasia, hence it is time-consuming for them to learn relevant knowledge about euthanasia. The process of euthanasia involved a doctor prescription of stronger or higher amounts of lethal drugs, and the judgment of doctors on whether the applicant is suitable to undergo euthanasia. However, euthanasia never exists in the medical syllabus. The current doctor and medical students have no knowledge or practice about euthanasia. It is time-consuming in insert correct knowledge about euthanasia into the medical syllabus. Professors have to decide the content of medical education again and learn the detail of euthanasia before stimulus. On the other hand, the import of medicine is highly monitored by the registration committee of the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, so medicines that are highly lethal may not be passed for usage. Somebody said that euthanasia can be carried out successfully with well-developed medical system. The medical system in Hong Kong is advanced due to the government medical subsidies. Hence, it is capable for Hong Kong to adopt euthanasia and sustain it as a long-term service. However, capital is not the only factors for legalizing euthanasia. Experience of medical staff and level of medical security are also the important factors. They are constraints of legalizing euthanasia. The lack of experience and high level of security of medicine in Hong Kong, no matter how much money can the government subsidize on the medical sectors of euthanasia, the constraints will hinder the legalization. Therefore, I think Hong Kong should not legalize euthanasia until it is ready to carry out. So do you have further question? No? Then
No, I don't have further questions. Thank you.
This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for all of your listening again.
Yeah, you can switch off. Thank you.
Okay.
Next.
Okay. Okay. Can you guys see me? Hi.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm L52 Jose Sonia. Okay. Before I start the presentations, I would like to ask the questions. Who know you the best? Your answer may be your friends, family, or yourselves. While the advent of the age of big data, everything we did on the internet are being recorded. One of the people who know us the best is none other than internet. As we always keep ourselves online, our information privacy is at risk. This report, I will explore how internet affect our privacy. I will start with briefly discussing how and why the internet gathers our personal information, the pros and cons of it, and some recommendation of how to protect our own privacy in the following presentations. First and foremost, to answer the questions how company access to and gather our personal information, I will explain two ways of how information is being flowed. The first flow is that information is being collected by parties. Another way is that information is being shared as you are willing to and aware of, which is mostly perceived by users. To give an example, when you create a social media account, you need to enter your information like emails, nation, age, and some even may require phone number. Hence, you have no choice but to provide them, since you are not able to create an account without doing so. This is the first way that I've talked about before, and the portfolio and the things that you post on your account are the personal data that you choose to share with other users. They are optional, which you can hide them from the public through changing your account setting to public to private. Secondly, I would like to point out the way that the company gather our information. They use cookies. Cookies are text files placed on your computer to collect information internet log information and user behavior information. By using cookies, company can collect information which are not allowed to identify as an individual from the site. And another way is that they gather up and collect information from third parties. Have you ever wondered why the advertisements may related to you? Well, that may simply because the website you visit will gather your information and share it to the third parties. Company may also obtain information from the third parties. They can exchange information with other parties. Therefore, information is being held by different companies and being transferred all over the world. Thirdly, I would like to explain why parties need to process information about us. The reason why parties need to process information about us, which is related to the advantages of it. They usually collect information because of business purpose. They do analyze the information to have a better understanding of our online behavior and interaction with their sites to provide a personalized service. Hence, you will be more satisfactory with their service. For instance, Instagram, a social media widely used by youngsters, will show ads based on the people that you followed, posts that you like on Instagram, and the website and apps you visit, which is information from the third parties to advertising more effectively, to make advertising more effective. As a result, you may see apps that related to you, last but not least, I would like to talk about the cons of it. Apparently, sharing data with organizations have security problems. A research done by European Commissions in 2011 shows that 44% and 38% of Europeans are worrying about their personal data are being used and shared without their knowledge and agreement. It indicates that users concerned about information may be stolen from us through the internet. In fact, their worries are understandable. In 2019, 267 million Facebook users' personal data are being leaked online. Their data explode online for weeks, letting hackers access their database and steal their information. It reveals that internet makes our information easier to access. Only this, information privacy is on thin ice. Last, the conclusion and recommendations. Overall speaking, through internet, our information is being collected and accessed by collaborations as to improve our online experience. Yet, it also triggers another problem, the security problems of our personal data. Therefore, to ensure our information are being protected, customers must raise their awareness of how their information are being used by parties. Promoting civic education of information privacy is an effective way to raise the awareness of the safety of our personal data. Furthermore, to demonstrate the inappropriate use of citizens' data, the authorities should legislate the industry and enforce stricter laws. That's okay. That's all my presentation. I would like to invite questions from the audience. Sorry.
Yes, I'm Jasmine Fong from L55, and I would like to ask Sonia a question. What Internet has do to protect the privacy of the users?
The internet, for example, social media, they need to obey the law. For example, the social media must get the user permission of using their information if they are for commercial use. The cooperation should also should not make money by selling customer personal data without their knowledge. They should also inform user whether it is voluntary or not to provide those data and how they're gonna use those data. Another point is that they should also fulfill their social responsibility, which company should only collect data that directly related to their original purpose. when they collect data. It should be necessary but not exclusive for the original purpose when they which also means that data collection must be lawful. Hence, if the personal data is not useful or is no longer necessary, they should handle it well. For example, in England, they have the law of forgotten, which also means that if the data is not useful, they should handle it, and they shouldn't keep it. They shouldn't keep those data because it is not useful, and they shouldn't sell it as well because as to protect customer privacy. So in my opinion is that if the internet collect data from us, they should handle our data. They have the responsibility to handle our data well and to protect our privacy. Do you have further questions?
No, thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Okay, next.
Wait, sorry. Can you see the PowerPoint I uploaded?
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah, just hold on. I saw that.
Wait,
Yep.
it's loading. Okay.
No, we saw it. Okay. Just go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. So I am L52 Core Samanpreet. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking your time to my presentation. So now let us all imagine that we have no freedom, no rights, and we are unable to voice out. And a scientist is given $30 million to put toxic chemicals in our body. Well, in reality, that does not happen to humans. Well, it happens to animals in the name of science. So, do you know how many animals are used for experiments worldwide? Well, let me tell you. At least 115 animals are used to hold tests on worldwide each year. Animals are used to develop medical treatments, determine the harmfulness of medications, and check the safety of products. My research topic is it right to perform tests on animals for medications? Well, this question was quite interesting because a lot of people are unaware how many animals have lost lives to provide medical solutions for our better health, and we're unaware if there are threats to animals' life during the experiments and why humans are not willing to volunteer for testing. So my thesis the outline includes, number one is animals suffering in laboratories. Beside the poor environment, they live in cages. They also go through a lot of torture. For example, when having behavioral experiments that are designed to cause distress, which includes electric shock, forced chemical exposure in testing the level of toxins, which include forced inhalation and food and water deprivation. The second subheading is unsuccessful medications, even after the animal testing. So there are many unsuccessful medicines failed for humans and cost human lives too, even after having animal tested. For instance, a drug named TGN 1412 was created and was tested on monkey, and the monkey showed no ill effects and was considered safe for humans. However, however, 6 men had organ failure and brain swelling under 2 hours when taking that medicine. This shows that animal testing can be unreliable. And the last one is, are there any limit to animal testing? Well, we want to find out if there are policies to protect all animals from over-testing. For instance, the Animal Welfare Act only protects all warm-blooded animals except rats, mice, and birds bred for research. However, rats and mice are the most common used animals in laboratories these days. So to conclude, the outline includes the number of animals used in experiments, how animals suffer in laboratories, medicine failures even after having animal testing, and policies provided to lab animals. And lastly, I would just like to say, hope you would respect all animals as they sacrifice their lives to provide us healthier lives. Thank you for your attention, and now I would like to invite questions from the audience.
Hi, I'm L52 Kukachun, and I would like to ask, what are the alternatives to the animals for testing medication?
That's a very interesting question. Due to the advanced technology these days, there are alternatives to using animals in experiments. For example, in vitro methods. So this method includes that human organs are put into a chip, and it could do, what it could do is drug test. It could test the toxin levels of the drugs, and it has actually more accurate responses than animal experiments. The other alternative is computer modeling. It stimulates human body and checks the progress of developing a disease. And when the new drug is placed in the body, it can predict the reaction of the new drug in a human. However, although there are new alternatives, there are a majority of scientists who does not want to change their experimental behaviors, and they still use animals in their laboratories. Thank you for listening. Are there any other questions from the audience? Are there any questions from the audience? No? Okay.
No.
I'm just wondering. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, he wasn't asking you questions, so he wasn't responding. I'm sorry, he wasn't responding. So I'm going to ask you a simple question. So I know that your view is you tend to disagree with animal testing, correct?
Yes.
But do you think it's avoidable? Do you think it's avoidable in a sense that animal testing should be completely banned? Based on your research, do you think it's feasible to completely ban it by law?
Okay, thank you for your question. Well, that's a very interesting question again. And I personally believe it is not avoidable in these coming few years, because even with advanced technology, the technology cannot be as accurate. I mean, the technology is not fully developed as the animals. And since there are animals like chimpanzees that are closest to human behavior, and they have similar similar organs. I mean, testing on chimpanzees can actually be similar to testing on humans. So I'm pretty sure that it is not feasible to ban animal testing in the coming few years only. But after a few years, with a lot of advanced technology and having a full accuracy, technology can take over animal testing, and soon animals will not be forced to be put on experiments. Yes, thank you. Are there any more questions from the audience?
No, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. How do we stop sharing?
Press on the same button that you press. Okay?
I did.
It takes a little time.
Is it gone now? No.
Yeah, you press on the same button, and if you see that button now has an arrow sign.
Okay.
All right, then it's okay. Next.
And I need some time to share the PowerPoints to Teams, but I have already shared my PowerPoints into the meeting notes.
Yeah, okay, that's all right. Just hold on a second. I'm going to try something. Okay, just hold on a second.
Okay.
Now, I just want to chop the long video into two halves. Okay, I'm sorry. Just have to wait. Okay.
Okay.
You want to share that? Take your time, or
it is difficult for me to
oh,
share the
okay, okay.
PowerPoint
Okay,
by
but
using my
no
phone.
no problem, no problem. Let me see where no problem. Okay. Yeah, well, let's just hold on a second. It's loading.
Okay, okay.
But it's not. Okay, is it the cause of teenagers' internet addiction?
Yep.
Okay. Just hold on a second. Then I will start recording again. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, now we start again. All right, because the thing is getting too long, and it's very difficult to go ahead and upload into the cloud. Okay, thanks. Okay, next. Thank you.
Okay. Can I start now?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Good morning. The topic of my presentation today is the cause of teenagers' internet addictions. And before I'm going to talk about the causes, I would like to inform something about internet addictions. First of all, the overall internet penetration rate among teenagers was as high as 98.1% at 2017. And this accompanied by the green phenomenon of internet addictions. And the World Health Organization has included internet addictions as a mental illness at 2018. And according to the data carried out by China Health and Medical Commission, there are about 10% of teenagers in China has suffered from internet addictions, and it is really serious. So let's move on to the cause of teenagers' internet addictions. It can be divided into subjective factors, including how the psychological pressure and eagerness of teenagers to get group identity cause them getting addicted to the internet, and objective factors including how the rapid growing in game industries results in teenagers getting addicted to the internet. Let's talk about the subjective factors first. First of all, during adolescence, online entertainment become the easiest way for teenagers to decompress. Since emotional instability, rebelliousness, and rapid psychological change are the hallmarks of adolescence, the trivial things in teenagers' daily life, like they didn't sleep well last night or they can't perform well at school like they expected, will become their trouble, producing negative emotion and psychological pressure that they have to deal with. So when traditional ways of reducing stress, such as travel and sports, are limited by time and place, teenagers often indulge in online games in order to seek liberation. This leads to the formation of dependence and addictions to online games of teenagers. Also, teenagers might getting addicted to online games because they don't want to be excluded by his or her friends. Online games are popular with teenagers, and teenagers account for a quarter of users in the world, which means that when teenagers are trying to make friends with the people having same age with him, the one he meets might have the habits of playing online games. So the teenager will most likely to follow this habit and develop it in order not to be ostracized by his friends. And it can be seen that sometimes teenagers will become addicted to the internet because they want to fit in the social circle around them. So let's talk about the objective factors. The objective factors is about the developments of electronic technology has greatly reduced the threshold of online entertainment and increasing the convenience and game experience at the same time. The technological progress breaks the place and time restriction of playing online games. So when online games have stepped into the mobile era, we can play online games whether we are on the subway or in school or at home by using our mobile devices. It is really convenient. And in addition, the level of hardware such as graphics cards has been improved, which makes online games become more sharper, quicker, and having more beautiful effects. This will attract gamers spend more time on playing the games and probably results in teenagers getting addicted to online games because the games they are playing is become more attractive. To conclude, there is no one reason can play a role in isolation, so the approaches to deal with teenagers' internet addiction should be multi-pronged. And this is the end of my presentation. Are there any questions?
Hello, I'm L52 called Yu Him. I would like to ask some question to L52 Cool Culture. Instead of online gaming, do you think there is any other factor that affect teenagers to addicted in the internet? For example, the social media like YouTube, IG, or some teenager want to have some Korean program, something like that. Thank you.
Yes, the messages and informations like videos and pictures or something about the culture that teenagers are interested in, like K-pop you have mentioned, will also be a huge factors that attract teenagers getting addicted into internet, because I think internet is the main way and for them to search or to watch those things that they are interested. There's no other ways for them except for example, they are interested in K-pop, and besides surfing internet, the only way for them to know about K-pop is going to Korea, but you know it is really costly and not convenient at all. So when teenagers are willing to get some information that they are interested from the internet, they will also getting addicted into it because this is the things they are interested in. And that's all of my answer. Thank you for listening. Is there any more questions?
I don't have any further question.
I have a question for you,
Okay.
Cheukhang. Now, this kind of addicted to the internet or video games or social media have been around for ages. I mean, for a long, long time. And there have been tons of research done on it for a very protracted, a prolonged period of time. And it seems that there seems to be no solution to it. And what is your view on how best to deal with it? And can you share with us some of your insights?
Yes, I think the things that can be done by parents is the best way to help teenagers to get rid of their addiction. It's because parents are always the people who are closest to the children. As I mentioned, one of the main reasons of teenagers getting addicted to the internet is because of they have to deal with their pressures. So at the meanwhile, if their parents can spend more time to talk to communicate with their children, maybe they can reach an agreement and seek solutions against the pressure, so as to create a release point for teenagers to release their stress. And I think this can help teenagers to getting rid of their addiction. And also, I think the identity of parents and the proximity to their children also make it appropriate for parents to become a supervisor, helping teenagers regulate the time they spend on the internet. So the situation can be improved.
Yeah, I just have 2 comments on that. Certainly I would not disagree with the parental roles in the upbringing of a child. But that is more significant when the child is very, very young. And I think the teenagers should be putting a lot more responsibilities on themselves, rather than depending on the parents' guidance. Another thing about parents, it's parents are all also addicted to the internet. If they don't set good examples, how on earth are they going to educate their own children? Imagine yes. That's what I'm telling you. Like, this internet addiction has been around. Okay, internet. Well, I'm not very young, but when I was young, internet addiction was already a problem, and even now. So I mean, my generation grow up to be parents now, and well, with a lot of teenage children, with a lot of teenage offsprings. Well, what I'm trying to say that many of my peers are also heavily addicted to these various forms of social media. And so how can they be good examples to their children if the parents themselves are addicted, right? Like, if you are addicted, how are you going to be a good example to your children? So, I'd agree with you. Parents are the best models, but usually, there are no examinations or no kind of license given to people when they want to have children, right? If there is a licensing system for parents to be parents, then, well, we can rely on them. But, anybody can be parents, right? And parents can be equally irresponsible. So do you still think that is a good solution? Or in fact, the most effective solution?
I still think parents it's the best way to help teenagers to get rid of their addiction. So, and I think if parents want to teach their children to get away from internet addictions, they have to regulate their time properly first. so they can teach their children something, to not to get addicted to the internet. They I mean they live under the same roof, and so the time they spend together will naturally be very long. So parents is always the one who can best help teenagers to get rid of the addiction.
Well, like I said, if the parents are addicted themselves, so how are they going to be setting the example if they cannot control themselves? How can they control their children? That's my point. But well, okay, that said, are you addicted to the internet?
No, not at all.
Maybe a good parent, right? But there are people who are addicted to it, and they're if the parents are setting bad examples, then the children would definitely do the same thing, All right, anyway, thank you very much. Okay, next.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hello everyone. I'm L52 called Yu Him. Today I would like to share a topic, gaming disorder. First of all, have you ever played this game before? This is some popular mobile game and some popular online game, which costs a long time to play. Then I have some question to ask you guys. Have you ever spent a long time on digital game or video game? Just like when you play at night, the night, and you start playing it and you can't stop. You don't want to sleep. You always tell yourself that this is the last game. Then you're still playing it, and until the morning the sun go out. Or do you think that playing too much digital game or video game is a kind of diseases? And originally, I don't think playing too much game is our diseases. Until that, I find the article that the WHO defined that playing too much gaming disorder to diseases. So, what is gaming disorder? Gaming disorder means impaired control over gaming. The patient cannot hold themselves from playing game. They cannot control themselves. They would give a priority of gaming over the other interests and daily activity. For example, they would like to choose playing video game, online game, rather than having a shower or taking a meal or doing sports, something like that. It's a really serious diseases. But if you say the guy that only have this situation for once a month, once a year, this is not a diseases. This diseases is divided as you need to continue this situation for at least 12 months. Then I would like to talk about the impact of these diseases. As the feature of gaming disorder is putting the priority of gaming larger than other daily activities and interests, this means the patient would lack of physical activities and they would not have enough exercise. Therefore, they will have some health problems such as obesity and high blood pressure, something like that. Also, as they do not have a good meal, they will have some malnutrition problem. And in the mental health aspect, as they always spend their time on playing games, they would not like to spend time on communication with the other person. This causes it have a low communication skill with the other person, and they will have a poor performance in the school or in the company as this result, as this reason. In the prevention, the government have some policy to deal these diseases in China. In China, the government forbidden children that under 18 to play the online game after 10 o'clock. I think it's a serious, it's a overstay policy, as it forbid children that under 18 that include teenager cannot play the video game and the online game after at 10 o'clock. I think it's do something too much. And the other way to prevent it is a self-management. You need to limit your time on playing a video game and online game and limit your time on spending on it. The other way is to tell yourself that you can't let playing video game to affect your usual daily life. To conclude, gaming disorder is a disease, but it's a disease to put more priority of gaming over the other things, but not that you're addicted in game and playing too much game is a disease. The second is the negative impact to our daily life. Gaming disorder making you lose control of your mind that you to do the other things. You would just like to play on the having gaming and you would have a impaired control over gaming. The last thing is we should prevent this situation. Playing game is a good thing to have a good leisure time to deal with the stress in our daily life. But we should prevent this situation of having gaming disorder. This is the end of my presentation. Do anyone have any question?
I am L52 Kaur Somanpreet, and I would like to ask Kwok Yu Him, why do people get addicted to gaming?
I think these have several major factors. The first one is the sense of accomplishment and the sense of progress. People would like to get sense of accomplishment and progress in playing video game and online gaming, as you can get this sense of feeling more easily in some video game than the reality. There is some example that have you ever tried to tidy your room before the exam or the test? It is because you would like to find some sense of accomplishment and progress. As tidying your room is the easiest way to get those feelings, therefore you would like to tidy your room to get those sense of accomplishment and progress, instead of studying and get a good result in the exam and test. And in the same situation, people would like to playing video game to get those sense of feeling instead of paying hard working in their reality to get the improvement. Is there any further question?
No, thank you.
Then this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So I will start now. Good morning, everyone. I'm L52 Cheukhang Kwong. I want to ask, do any of you ever think of shopping online? And when is the last time you go out for shopping? Is it a few months ago or even longer? And when is the last time you buy things from the internet? Is it just yesterday or just a few hours ago? As we all know, the internet is improving every single day. We now spend more and more time on the internet, and we can do almost everything on it, even buying clothes, buying food, and everything you possibly can think of. So who can imagine this will happen 10 years ago? So now I'm going to talk about what is causing this to happen and how does this change our lives, and moreover, what will happen in the future. So first of all, I would like to talk about public applications on online shopping. As we all know, the advanced electronic devices and internet is introduced in the recent years, and more people are starting to use online shopping. And back in 2010, the online resale price is already around 523.1 billion with China alone. And that showed us that how big the online shopping market is. And with more and more users worldwide, the online shopping market will only grow significantly. Now I want to talk about the major change in people's lives with online shopping. First of all, with online shopping, people tend to go out less and less, as all of us can shop online anytime, anywhere, and buy almost anything on it. From food to clothes or even cars, you can all buy it from the internet. Because of that, shopping isn't really restricted to any area or any time zone. You can buy anything like limited things in the United States, even though you are in Hong Kong having lunch. Moreover, online shopping provides a lower price than the goods at the shop, as the stores and sellers no longer need to rent a shop or hire salesmen. They just do them all on the internet. So, in conclusion and prediction, I will think that online shopping is becoming one of the most important parts of our lives, and it is making our life better. And with the help of globalization and advanced technology, I think the online shopping market size will only increase, and if it is not the biggest in the world. And with the technology of drones and 3D printers, I think the delivery speed will increase and the customer service of the online shopping will improve significantly. That is all I want to say. Thank you. Is there any questions?
Yes, I'm L52 Laika Wing. I want to ask Cheukhang that what are the drawbacks of online shopping?
Thank you for your questions. I think some of the drawbacks of online shopping is that I think one of the major is security and privacy, as you know that online shopping contains a lot of buyers and sellers information like their personal information like names, address, emails, and something like that. So it is one of the concern and one of the drawbacks from the online shopping, as some of the hackers or some of the illegal people might steal your information and use them in illegal way. And moreover, I think one of the drawback is the quality of service in the online shopping. As you know, everyone can sell goods on the internet, and it is almost free of charge. So some of the sellers might just put some fake description or fake photos just to gain a huge profit, but not providing a good quality of goods and service to the customers. Is there any more questions?
Yes, I have one more question. Why will advanced technology help online shopping grow in the futures?
Okay, I think the reason why advanced technology is helping the online shopping growing is because, as we all know, the 5G internet is coming, and the internet speed of 5G is much quicker than now what we are now using. And with the help of that, um, the buyers and sellers can communicate much faster, and moreover is some advanced technology like drones or 3D printers. They can just work at any time, just like the drones. Um, they can work even at midnight, and they don't have a working hour. Like you order something like in the midnight, and the drones can still deliver them to you to your house. And just like 3D printers, some of the stuff now we need to like ship it or fly it to your home, but with the help of 3D printers, um, you can just buy like a menu in the internet and you can print it out yourself. So it will definitely improve the speed and the quality of online shopping. Thank you. Is there any more questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, that's all what I want to say. Thank you.
Hello, can you see my screen now? Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Today I'm going to talk about teenager suicides in Hong Kong. Why I want to discuss about this topic, it is because I think every teenagers have their own talents, and the talents are very important to the society. Although the teenager suicide rate is very low in Hong Kong and a slightly decrease from the previous years, and it is lower than the Korea and the Japan, but it is still a huge problem in Hong Kong. First of all, let me ta- talk about the reasons why there are teenager suicides. First of all, the first reason is that from the schools, some cases is about the school's bullying and the academic results, and and they have not adapted from the new environment. The second reason is that the family. Some cases that there are some conflicts between their families and the families' parents and their teenagers. And the domestic violence is another huge reasons that cause the teenager suicides. And the third reason is that the society. And I have seen some suicide case posts on the social media app like Instagram or Facebook. And the comment under the news are very hard to the suicide cases. Some like that you you go to hell, you're going to die. It is very bad to the teenagers that look into the news and they will think that they they have not enough love from the society and their families. And so the second case and the third case appears. And I want to talk about move on is that how can we prevent and the solutions? First, about the school should take more consultation and more talk to provide to the students in schools. It is because the teenagers are lack of their they cannot to solve their emotional easily. They need to talk about to the teachers and more the social workers. Also, the family. The family nowadays, the family in Hong Kong are very lack of love because the father and the mother are going out to work and their children are only doing coursework at home alone. It is not enough love from their family. Also, the government should take more actions, such as working with the schools. For example, the Joyful School program, and the government should put one social worker to every schools. It is very useful for helping the teenagers to have a more emotional. Oh, this is the end of my presentation. Any more questions from the presentation?
I'm L52 Cheukhang. I want to ask my partner, L52 Wing, can you think of any policy that the government can adopt besides working with schools that can help that can prevent this to happen?
Okay, I think the government should provide a more subsidy to the schools. It is because although there are enough subsidy to the school, but the school always take this money to the sports and their facility at the school. It is not enough for the consultation part and the communication with the students. And also I think the other policies is that they should take more social worker to the school. It is because one social worker cannot talk to everyone at school, and the whole schools have very more problems from the students. So I think these two policies the government should take in the future. Thank you. Are there any questions? Oh, no, thank you.
Okay, and I think that's the end of today's session. I just like to remind all of you that for week 11, you must submit your outline to the Moodle. And then for week 15, you should also submit it to your Moodle folder. Now in week 15, there is one general folder. Don't submit it into general one. Wait for the L52, okay? With L52, you should locate your own section. If you put it in the general folder, all the teachers will get it, and they might be complaining, receiving your assignment, and then they might even mark it and then find out that it's not their section and then pass it on and on. So it's going to be very difficult for us. So make sure that you locate our folder, okay? And remember, for your last assignment, Very Guide is also a must. Very Guide is not for assignment submission. It's for checking whether some of you have copied from the internet. Copied, like for example, there are a lot of a lot of reports on child abuse, and then childhood obesity, and then a lot of students just go ahead and copy them. The Very Guide, in fact, is a tool to check where you copy from, and if you're not using your own word, of course, you can copy the research, but you don't copy the words. As soon as you decided to copy or change one or two words, the Very Guide will be able to tell us, okay? So that is for plagiarism. Now the homework submission is on Moodle folder. So do both, Very Guide, okay, for plagiarism, and Moodle ENG 2010 week 15, okay? So it's week 11 and week 15. For the 15 one, it has not been created yet. Don't submit to the general folder yet. There will be a folder created just for your group, but you will see it much later, okay? So that's the thing. Oh, another thing about the outline that, remember there's a template. I sent it to you. I'm very happy that a lot of you just decided to do your own things, because that is only based on the UNICEF example. Of course, different students will have different headings. Some may have more paragraph, other may have a different settings. Take a look at the childhood obesity, that sample I sent it to you, that research report. The headings are not in the same order as the outline template I sent you. It's a template is an example. A sample is also an example for references. They are not instructions. So, instructions, you have to follow 100%, but samples are there for you to look at it. It doesn't mean that it's exactly the same, right? Okay, so that's it. Okay, time's up, and thank you very much for being on time. A big hands for yourself, and obviously some have done a good job and others, needing improvement, but whatever, a big hand to all of you who decided to come on time and made it on time. That is something very, very precious. It's something we all have to learn, because one day you're going to go out to work and you might be having an early meeting or a very late afternoon meetings. So, being on time is always a virtue. All right, thank you guys. Thank you very much. I might be sending you email just 2 weeks before the deadline of your research report. And we might have a Teams meeting, but those are only reserved if you have questions. Now, if you don't come on Teams meeting, it's okay. For the next couple of weeks, there probably won't be, and you will just have to sort of spend the time working on your research report. That's around average about 900, 950 words, plus and minus, to 1,100. Keep it to a word limit, and also If you don't attend our last week Teams meeting, make sure that you check from your classmates the latest. Are there any latest changes? Look out for emails and go and check on the Moodles. They will, they will give you the submission requirements. Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye. Take care.